All right, and this is the way it starts. Adequate notice of this November the 13th, 2014 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in this municipal building at 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, and by hand delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: Morris County's Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and the Hanover Eagle, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. I have a roll call.
Committeeman Gallagher.
Here.
Committeeman Faramasta.
Here.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
And Mayor Francioli.
Here.
5 members in attendance, sir.
Thank you very much. Will all please rise, those that may, and join me in a pledge of allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Okay, we have a few presentations for this evening. And the very first one I'd like to do, and it's an honor for the Township Committee to do this, and particularly a personal honor for me. Where are you, Sal? You're sitting right there. There you go. This past Monday evening at the Morris County Freeholder Board, this gentleman, Sal Iannacone, received a commendation from the freeholders on the occasion of the 239th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. The United States Marine Corps formed in 1775. You guys studying that yet? Not yet. It's a little early. Yeah, you'll get there. I think it's 5th grade. In any event, we would like to also present to one of our own town fathers, to one of our own, Sal Iannacone, our plaque, our appreciation for his service to the community, for his service to the United States, for his service to the world in World War II, and his service to the Marine. And on that note, Sal, I'd like you to come forward. We have a plaque for you here that we'd like to give you.
The whole committee should get up and do this.
Okay.
The whole committee.
Yep. Gentlemen, you all want to join me with... Isn't that nice? Beautiful.
Congratulations, young man.
Yeah, there he goes. There he goes. All right. Hold on to that. Tim's got a real camera.
Finally.
Oh my God. What's this coming to be? That's something else for the wall, along with about the 100 or so others that you got hanging there, you know?
I appreciate it because, you know, you're all my friends, you're all my buddies, and frankly, it's one thing to receive something like this from a bunch of strangers, but when it comes from your friends, it's even more important. So thank you very much.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
These
Very
young people
nice.
are all,
Don't encourage him too much. He'll run for office again. Thanks, Sal. Thank you very much.
live a good life.
That gentleman has served on your committee for nearly 37 years. He's been your mayor for about half that time. You know, helped Hanover come to where it is today, a beautiful town.
Still a member of the Environmental Commission.
And he's still a member, and an active member of the Environmental Commission, and I'm not going to divulge his birthday, but he'll go from there. We have another wonderful honor tonight, a Distinguished Community Service Award, and the Township Committee issues such awards, not necessarily on an annual basis, but for those individuals or those companies or those peoples that have been shown to do exceptional service for our community, our township, and our people. And on that note, we have an American martial arts with us here today, and I'm going to give the honor of this particular plaque to the youngest member of our township committee, who has been very, very active with American martial arts, and who has brought your name and all the good work you've done for our Substance Awareness Committee to our attention. So on that note, I'm going to hand this plaque over to Mr. Tom Ace Gallagher, and he's going to have a few words to say.
I will abbreviate what I put together. Those of you that know me probably realize I have quite a bit prepared, and I'm going to abbreviate it. I'll use the mayor as my example for Sally Anacone. But this is a great honor for me to present this award to American Martial Arts on behalf of the Township Committee and the Hanover Township Substance Awareness Council. With the Hanover Township Substance Awareness Council, our chairperson, Carol Giorgio's back there, our vice chair, Pete Bergenkamp, our superintendent of rec commissioners, Jim Coyley. We have a very active Substance Awareness Council in town. We created a program 4 years ago called Hanover Youth Nights. The premise of Hanover Youth Nights was to give kids and introduce kids different options and expose them to different activities. And one of the things I always discussed was martial arts, because in my family we practice martial arts. My son Danny is a black belt in Nishinru Karate. So am I, but I don't really broadcast that anymore because I haven't fought in a little while. But I heard quite a bit about American martial arts. And in martial arts, you're very territorial about your school. I knew about AMA. I never talked to the guys. I put a call in. I spoke to Matt and I spoke to Jamie. It's almost like I knew these guys for years. They talked about everything that we talked about: character education, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, bullying, positive role models, exposure to new activities. I told Matt about our Substance Awareness Council, and the first thing he said to me was, "How can I help? We will do anything to help." From that point on, I talked to these guys a couple days a week actually. They've already been involved in our Hanover Youth Nights program. We had one at their facility. They currently have some of their 17 to 22-year-olds getting fingerprinted to become chaperones at our events. We specified anybody that would like to be in law enforcement or education would be a prime candidate for us to get exposure to a leadership role and be a good example to our children. Just a week ago, Matt, with 2 Secret Service agents and Hanover Township PD, made a presentation to our seniors about the different crimes that criminals prey on our seniors with, whether it be cybercrime, identity theft, and all types of different situational awareness. So thank you again for doing that. Our seniors are very precious to us. A girl named Jessica called me and wanted to have me help her with her Gold Award. I said, "Okay, do you have a background in martial arts?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Do you have a background, does your family have a background in law enforcement? Are you in law enforcement?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, do you want to help us with our program?" And she said, "Well, I have to run it." I went down to AMA, I said, "I don't know what to do." Make a long story short, they said, "We're going to give her a 3-month membership, we're going to train her, we're going to work with her curriculum, and she has her first dry run of her program on November 29th here at AMA. I'm going to cut everything out except for these last 2 points. This summer, we're going to, for the first time, have 8 consecutive Thursday nights at the B Meadow Pool, where we're going to introduce our children to self-defense, and self-defense also can be self-esteem and self-respect, and therefore respecting others. At the point when their class is over, we're going to permit them to swim and let their moms and dads take some self-defense. Bring the family together. It's just positive exposure to good activities with a Hanover Township-based business. My last point about AMA is the more I got to learn about them, they train local police, state police, the Morris County Sheriff's Office, Homeland Security, the Secret Service, plus they have a 2-time world champion on their staff full-time. I'm extremely proud to announce that they are part of the Substance Awareness Council. To conclude, the first axiom I learned in karate was the best fight is the one you walk away from. Well, I'm proud to say that the one fight that I want to fight is the good fight against drugs and alcohol. And AMA wants to fight it with us. My township committee is very, very happy that you want to come into the mix. Again, look at all of these kids. They're learning from very, very good role models. We appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. And we'd like to present you guys with a plaque. That's it.
do?
Where's the back, Joe?
Right in front of you,
Oh,
under your speech.
under my speech, my abbreviated speech.
Have the kids line up, have the kids line up.
Bob, George, John? You don't wanna bump into these guys. Carlos, we don't wanna bump into these guys. Here, you wanna hold this one right in the front? Close up. There you go. Be careful, don't hurt him.
Cheers.
Got it, Jim?
Good job, guys.
Good job.
Very good.
Absolutely.
Very good. Good to see you here tonight.
Listen, I remember the seniors. They,
Carlos,
so many of them came to
thank
me.
you very much.
Grateful, appreciate it.
Oh, great.
Time you guys have They live in Township. People get.
You're not in trouble? We can do that every year. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Sure. Give them a few minutes.
Yes.
Seeing the smiley face of the guy on the right, he's cracking me up, he's rolling his eyes, and the left side of the room, right on.
How young can they be? Really? Wow. Wow.
Boris got
Thank you for.
You think they let me in?
Great, okay, thank you. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was very enjoyable, and I'm going to let the administrator continue at this point with the meeting. We will do that. Gentlemen, at this stage, we'll open the meeting to the public for any items not appearing on the agenda.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Anyone who would like to address the Township Committee at this time can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Joseph,
Guess who?
how you doing?
One step at a time.
You're doing, kid.
Joseph Mahalko, 12 Anna Terrace, Whippany section of Hanover Township.
Yes, it is.
The good news, you'll only have to put up with me for a couple more months because the wife says we're going to Florida again. So I can't leave you without some good news and bad news. The very good news, Mr. Jerry, I had a problem. I am gradually getting worse and worse as far as mobility. And I have a power wheelchair, which allowed me to answer a fire call the other day. Of course, they won't let me get on the truck. I keep telling them they got to put one of them little ramps for me on my power wheelchair.
They haven't built that.
But on my way down from Anna Terrace to the firehouse in my power wheelchair, there was an obstruction on the sidewalk that Jersey Central had been doing some repair work along the railroad tracks and left the sidewalk almost impassable for me. However, I called the engineer of our illustrious town,
That's a start.
received a return call within an hour,
That's a better start.
and this morning there was remediation of my impediment
That's
on the
neat.
sidewalk.
That's-
Congratulations to the engineering
Is
department.
that an attaboy? That's an
I'll tell
attaboy.
you what, these guys made me proud. Thanks, Joe. Other than that, this AMA program and the things that are going on are just so positive, really positive. I hate to bring up a negative, but I just have to do that because it's bothering me. When things bother me, I share them. Having attended numerous meetings over the past year, I have always felt that we've had a very open relationship with the Township Committee and and outs and procedures and principles that we follow. After last month's post-committee meeting, I was shocked, to say the least. The mechanism for presentation proposals for the development of Hanover Township are not as transparent as one might assume. The last post-committee meeting, as you are all well aware of, was for the development of the southern campus of Bear property, in which the developer's representative first stated that he required a quick response to their proposal. And, of course, our good mayor responded that it doesn't work that way, and some deliberation would be required. That being said, it came about that there has been a subcommittee meeting, or a subcommittee of either the Township Committee or the Planning Board working with these people, unbeknownst to some of the rest of the Township Committee and some of the people on the Planning Board. This led me to believe that some transparency is being clouded over. And this, I must say, is where the mustard hits the fan. What committee is allowed to appoint subcommittees that nobody knew about? What ability do subcommittees have to encourage developers with proposals that go against most of the wishes, or go against the wishes of most of the representatives of the Township Committee and the town especially? When a comes in, and I'm surprised you didn't hit him, says, I need an answer, I need it now. Mm-hmm. I will not entertain any proposals for continuation into Algonquin Parkway, which is almost comparatively necessary to achieve traffic flow, less traffic congestion in town. In addition, not was it mentioned by the developer, Bear still has 2 more buildings to put up that they have approval for. That will house another 1,000 people. None of this was brought forward. I think that we have to take a little stronger stance. I know for going back, and I'm going to have to say it was September, October of last year, our committeeman, Mr. Bruno, had the validity of a developer coming in with a proposal that included housing. And as I recall, he said, don't bother us, we don't need it, we don't want it. Any proposal that includes heavily populated, high-density rental units is not what Hanover Town needs. Give me 320 senior citizen, 55, 1-story, no basement houses. I'll fill them up for you. I'll give you 350 in town available for the mass market.
Joe, let me respond, because you bring up some points that really should be addressed. As I said in the last committee meeting which you attended, and we addressed some misconceptions of facts that were on some of the local blogs in the township. And transparency is critical. And while we're working toward that end, we're not there yet, but we are putting in some programs that will require social networking. We're going to meet people on the planes of what they're using now, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube. We plan to have active programs in that area. Having said that, you bring up the matter of the Planning Board Subcommittee on the South Campus. Planning Board Subcommittee on the South Campus has been meeting for nearly a year. Those meetings, which have been published through the Planning Board, have been attended by some citizens during the afternoons when they met. These consist of a few members of the Planning Board, not the entire Planning Board. And these subcommittees are not empowered to do anything but make recommendations to the Planning Board. And ultimately, you know how the system works. The Planning Board then makes recommendations to the Township Committee. And if the Township Committee doesn't ratify it and approve change, it don't happen. So we have developers, yes, that have come through. One wanted 450 units of rentals on the South Campus. They had some urgency as of lately because of some other potential office uses that want to go on there, and they have, I'll be honest with you, they have tied it to the fact that in order to get A, they need B. Well, we don't think so. We don't think so. We are presently giving their plan consideration, as we must. That concept is being discussed. They for this Township Committee about a week ago, and I think you were present at the time they made their presentation to us, and they demanded an answer. Our answer was, we're sending it back to our Planning Board, which is procedurally the way we should go, and your answer will come forward after they make a recommendation to us. That hasn't happened yet. They have looked at it at a regular open public planning session. They looked at it, they discussed it, they had some points of view. And by the way, points of view on this current project are different from the points of view that the subcommittee had on the previous project. So we've seen enough of these changes, chameleon-like things go on for quite some time. So we have not reached a decision as to the South Campus. But let's go back to transparency. We are trying in earnest to reach the public in any way we can. Meetings are all on our websites. Our agendas are published on that website in advance of what we're doing. The public is openly invited to attend any meeting of this council, the Planning Board, Board of Adjustment, etc. Listen to what they're talking about. But here's where I put my money. Here. Right here, where you are now. Because we represent a constituency. We represent you, the people. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. And that's the responsibility that we should fulfill in answering some of these zoning issues. You know, we may like something individually, but it's the consensus, it's the majority of this board that acts on a zone change. Nothing happens in this town without their signatures on a zone change. And that's procedurally the way it happens. Is there a breakdown in the transparency or communications of our boards to our public, etc.? I hope not. I think we're doing everything that we possibly can, and we want to do more, and economic development wants to do more. And was it Brushfire? The advertising agency that the township has is now entering into a program with Facebook and setting up a Facebook page and setting up a blog system on the Facebook page, so you can openly ask your questions any time of the day or night, as you said, and get answers back. So I just want you to know, I want the community to know, we're trying on our end to be as open as we possibly can. Nothing is going to happen in behind closed doors or in a as God bless Alice Anderson of years ago used to say, in a back room here. It doesn't work that way. So Joe, keep your trust in us, and we're going to try and keep our eye on the ball. You know.
Mr. Mayor, I appreciate your affirmation of what I assume has always been what it should be, and I thank you for your comments, and I appreciate the opportunity that you give me and other residents of the town to voice their concerns and their, if you will. We know that the rumor mill works great. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm sure that not quite as fast as our engineering department, but almost. I thank you all for your comment.
Joe, thank you. And you know we always respect your coming forward and bringing these to our attention, truly. Keep it up.
Mayor?
And
Mayor, can I, just for the record, just so there's no misunderstanding, that what was termed post-meeting presentation by the developer, that was a public meeting.
Yes.
That was taped. It's available to the public. You know, that was recorded.
Yes.
It was a public meeting, and as a matter of fact, the developer had asked to meet an executive session, and this governing body said no. Any discussion will be in the public portion of the meeting. So I think, you know, that's, you know, something that a lot of municipalities sometimes struggle with, but that is not something that this governing body struggles with. So that was done in the public portion of the meeting.
Appreciate that. And this is true. The request was they wanted to act in executive session, and the township committee would not hear of it, so.
Well, we got a good attorney.
You know? Thank you, Joe. Once again, the floor is still open. If anyone else would like to address the Township Committee at this time, please do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Hearing none. Seeing none. Motion to close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. We have the approval of the regular meeting minutes of the Township Committee of October 23rd and the bid reception committee meeting of November 4th. May we have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
So we have a motion by Mr. Bruno, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. And we continue with the following departmental reports, which are available for public inspection in the Business Administrator Township Clerk's Office. They include 2 reports from the Property Maintenance Officer for disposition of all projects and activities during the month of October and through November the 12th. We have the report of the Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer as Treasurer has submitted his report of the summary of budget revenues as of November the 11th. The Superintendent of the Public Works, Buildings and Grounds and Park Maintenance Department has submitted 2 reports on all projects and activities conducted by the department in the areas of sanitation, road division, and also parks for the month of October. And we also have the report from the Police Department of all activities conducted by the Police Department during the month of October 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 ordinances this evening for public hearing and consideration of adoption. The first is docketed as ordinance number 41-2014. This is an ordinance of the Township Committee authorizing the acquisition of 940 Route 10, located in the Whippany section of the Township, and also designated as Lot 4 in Block 9001, as set forth on the tax map of the township. And the ordinance further authorizes the appropriation of $140,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund of 2014 and all prior years for the acquisition. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the October 16th issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law. At this time, may we have a motion from the governing body to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call for public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 41-2014?
I'd like to, go ahead, Joe.
If I may,
Name and address for the record, sir.
Joe Mahalba, Weapon. We are referring to the Hardy property.
That's correct.
Yes.
And you know why. I mean, the
Yeah.
building is in terrible demise, it's a terrible shape. The
Complete
township
eyesore.
intends to remove that building, an eyesore, and clean up the property. That's the only reason we've acquired it. Has there been interest in other parties buying it to acquire it and knock it down? Sure. But this is the most expeditious way. We're not in the real estate business here in Hanover, but if we buy this property, we're gonna knock it down, we're gonna clean it up. It'll be part of the township's inventory of properties, and if a proper use for the corner comes by, we'll look at it. So that's where we are.
I tried to get them to let me drive the firehouse through it, since I'm not very able to drive.
You know,
but it just wouldn't.
that would have been a perfect exercise. The only
Saved
problem,
us a lot of
though,
money.
the only problem is the exercise wouldn't have lasted too long. I mean,
Anyone else wishing to be heard? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
So moved by Mr. Ferramaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call to close the public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
aye.
Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee authorizing the acquisition of 940 Route 10 in the Whippany section of the township, and also designated as Lot 4 in Block 9001, as set forth on the tax map of the township, and further authorizing the appropriation of $140,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund of 2014 and all prior years for the financing of the acquisition and any necessary environmental reports be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 20th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
Second.
So moved. We have a motion by Mr. Ferramaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. This is roll call for adoption. Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced. That's the original. Copy should be attached to that. Yeah, I just want to see if I have copies for you as well. Yep, these are copies right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the next ordinance for consideration on adoption is docketed as ordinance number 42-14, authorizing the acquisition by purchase or eminent domain if necessary of a temporary construction easement and permanent easement in the real property known as Block 5801, Lot 4, on the tax map of the Township of Hanover, for the improvement and realignment of the intersection of Whippany Road and Parsippany Road. The ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the October 30th issue of the Daily Record. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, may we have a motion from the governing
So
body?
moved.
A motion to convene the public hearing by Mr. Bruno, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call for public hearing, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone present wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 42-2014? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye. This allows the township to acquire certain easements necessary for realignment of Parsippany Road toward the, I'll describe it as toward the Billy's Red Room side. We want to line up the intersection, which is currently skewed, so it's going to be a little bit more of a taking on these property owners. But when we do, it'll, from an engineering standpoint, it'll be a perfectly safe intersection. So.
Now on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, authorizing the acquisition by purchase or eminent domain, if necessary, of a temporary construction easement and permanent easement in the real property known as Block 5801, Lot 4, on the official tax map of the Township of Hanover, for the improvement of the intersection of Whippany Road and Parsippany Road, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 20th issue of the Daily Record. May we now entertain a motion for adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we do have one additional item for introduction this evening. It was discussed in conference work session. It will be docketed as ordinance number 43-14. It's an ordinance of the Township Committee amending and supplementing, excuse me, section 166-141 entitled Regulations Applicable in All Zones, both in Article 20 entitled Signs, as set forth in Chapter 166 of the Code of the Township entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, pertaining to special event signs in the Township's rights of way. This ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final adoption at the Township Committee meeting on the 11th of December here in the main meeting room at 8:30 p.m. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the ordinance will be given that opportunity. The ordinance will be now sent to the Planning Board for review and recommendation in accordance with the municipal land use law. May we have a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. And roll call for introduction. Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, as we now continue, we have the resolutions as a consent agenda. On the second page of your agenda, it's a very short consent agenda. Are there any questions from members of the governing body concerning any of the resolutions? Hearing none, may we have a motion then
So
for
moved.
approval? So moved by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for approval, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. And the final item on the administrator clerk's agenda is the payment of bills, $7,066,652.96.
By all means, aye.
We have a motion by Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call for approval, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the Township Committee, that clears the agenda of the Township Administrator, Township Clerk, and I thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Very
Thank you.
good. Yeah. Enzo, is that you out there? No?
No.
Okay. I thought he was here in our audience today on being hired. We're going to congratulate a new hiree for Public Works here. Is there any other business from the Township Committee?
Sure. Absolutely,
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the Trails Subcommittee, Mr. Bruno and I would like to thank the voters of Hanover Township for coming out and voting and supporting the referendum to approve the use of open space money for trails. The Hanover Township Subcommittee has been working diligently trying to address a vision that started long ago, probably over 20 years ago, in terms of trying to bring Patriots Path to life. We're making excellent progress on this. Most recently, the Hanover Open Space Committee has endorsed using a significant sum of money to support that. We're waiting on a TAP grant from the state of New Jersey. And once those monies are identified, we will look to the Township Committee overall to support issuing a request for a bid so that we could begin the trails in spring of 2015, a portion of which. Subsequently, that same subcommittee will be then working with the engineering department to petition Morris County to support a greater expansion of the trails. From an EDAC standpoint, EDAC, with the Township Committee's direction, is now implementing the term of good things happen in Hanover. That's the thematic which we're going to be using from a marketing standpoint. It's very appropriate, that slogan. Think about what just happened tonight. We honored a group which is really helping our children early on in terms of substance awareness. Terrific. We honored a statesman who represented the U.S. Marines on the 239th anniversary of the Marines on Monday night, Morris County. On Monday of this week, that same individual, Sal Anacone, was named Sal Anacone Day throughout Morris County. In addition, on Wednesday night, just last night, the Whippany River was highlighted and showcased at the Frelinghuysen Museum. It was a documentary, The Story of a River. It was an excellent piece that was done in conjunction with the watershed. It's a wonderful piece of history, living history of Hanover Township, and it is just a terrific opportunity for us to see the rebirth of that river come alive. We're very, very pleased that Bayer Corporation stepped up and helped fund that. And for those of you who were in attendance, you were able to see some of the stars in that documentary on the Whippany River, none other than our Dr. George Van Orden, who early on in his career with Hanover Township took on the zeal, took on the vision, took on the responsibility to clean up the Whippany River. And by God, the man should be credited for doing it. He's done a fabulous job doing it. Other people will be starring in it as well that you'll know. And hats off to Robin for her work in terms of co-producing it and working very closely with Bayer. I know the Township Committee is supporting trying to get additional copies of that video so it can be shown at other meetings within Town Hall, and we encourage you to participate in it. That concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Gentlemen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and just expand for 1 second on what my fellow committeeman, Mr. Faramaska, mentioned just about the county now approving the use of open space funds for our trails project. That tax money is paid by us, as well as all the other residents of Morris County, into that open space fund. For whatever reason, we haven't gotten a whole lot of that money back here in Hanover, and now we have the opportunity to get some of our tax dollars back to support that trail. So I am equally happy that the taxpayers voted in that regard so that we can get some of that money back here in Hanover. Additionally, just in terms of our recreation department, I want to mention that last week, while the kids were off from school for the teachers' convention, we had 2 fun nights for the grammar school age kids. We had a movie night attended by about 80 children, and then the following night we had a bingo night attended by about another 80 or so kids. So we tried to keep them busy in the evenings when they didn't have school the next day. I thought it went very well. And lastly, just to note the next upcoming event, which will be Saturday, December 6th, our Christmas party over at the Rec Center. So please put that on your calendar, and Santa's sure to be there to take any and all Christmas wishes. Thank you.
Good. Denise back and still out?
Not yet.
Yeah. Denise is recovering from, our superintendent of public works recovering from some surgery, and we continue to wish her the best. She's doing very well.
First of all, the Veterans Alliance had their ceremony on Veterans Day over at the American Legion, which always goes over very well. It was nice to see different facilities honoring the Legion. I know I saw many of them over at Applebee's, which I thought was really nice, that they take the time and provided the veterans with a free meal, which was, you know, many veterans were there. I saw the Marine Corps League there. I've seen some of my other friends also. Secondly, Committee Gallagher had asked about the martial arts over at the senior meeting to make a presentation, which we saw the gentleman here this evening, who along with our chief of police, did a real nice presentation. Initially, when I got in touch with the person in charge of programming for the seniors, she was a little concerned, but then she called me and actually said they were absolutely thrilled. It did give a good update to the seniors as far as what to watch out for and be careful of, especially moving into the holiday season. So I want to thank Committeeman Gallagher for getting that moving along, as well as our chief of police and along with the gentleman from the FBI and other groups who helped to make the presentation a huge success. Also, on the 22nd of this month, the Landmark Commission is going to have a forum to talk about Morris County iron. Just briefly, it's hosting this event here over at the community center, and it's all about iron, which really began in Whippany, and it will be the first of its kind, and it's in preempting the tricentennial that we plan to have next year. So if anyone is interested, please feel free. It's from 9 to around 1 o'clock. So far we've got well over 100 people signed up. We're going to have different groups coming in talking about it, and we're also going to have a display in our one section of the community center. So anyone that's interested, please join us up there. It's going to be a real nice day. It's very interesting, and it talks about, you know, there's a lot of history in Hanover, and a lot of that history is being brought forth right now with the Landmark Commission. So the chairman asked me to extend to everyone, you know, please, if you got the time, stop down. You will enjoy it.
That was 9 o'clock, George?
Yes.
Very
Mayor,
good.
real quick.
Very good. Yeah. Ace.
Just a quick update on the Substance Awareness Council. I'd like to say again how much I appreciate AMA coming in. The one thing that was really good for me to see is, as hard as we work to work with our kids and educate our kids and about what's out there and what to, you know, they were working just as hard for all of that time parallel to us. So I'm extremely proud to say that they are now part of our Substance Awareness Council. Our team is getting bigger and stronger, and our focus is better than ever. So to segue into our next three events, Friday, November 28th, the 3rd to 6th grade, we have a Hanover Youth Nights at the Florham Park Roller Rink. December 12th, Cheer Pride. All the cheerleaders, my daughter's a cheerleader, they go there to work out. They want to be part of our program. We have for 5th to 8th grade, a night at Cheer Pride. And then in January, with our council keeping its eye on the prize, we're introducing students also into weight training. So one of our members on the Hanover Township Substance Awareness Council is Vinny LaRocca. He owns Florham Park Fitness. We're going to have a night at Florham Park Fitness. So those are a few events we have coming up with the Hanover Township Substance Awareness Council. That's it.
Excellent. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Once again, a motion to open floor to the public.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor again is open to the public. Anyone would like to address the Township Committee can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record. Hi, Fred.
Fred Miola, 83 North Bel Air Avenue in Cedar Knolls. Just wanted to commend the committee. As many of you know, I was on the Open Space Committee for 12 years. I was there at the inception. And one of our visions from the beginning was to try paths connecting all the parks and all the sections of town. So I'm happy that we're starting to move in to get those trails in. It's been a long time coming, really going to help the town. When I was on the committee the last couple of times, we tried making applications to the state to get some of the funds, got shot down every time. And on the second side, anybody know where on the Whippany Road improvements? I mean, how much longer is it going to be? You know,
Well, this is what I can say. Fred's going to correct me. But, and he knows I've been wanting to come out of the chute on this thing and get this thing done for God knows how long now. We are down to last tenant rentor in one of the buildings, and that rentor will remain in that building until the first of the year.
Yes.
Upon that rentor vacating that building, these buildings will come down. That means the two particular buildings, Dr. Garcia's building, Dr. Giaquinta's building, will be part of the new intersection realignment, as you know, and they'll be coming down. So I guess your question is when are you going to hear a bulldozer going? I would hope January 2nd, 2017.
Even maybe before that, Mayor, because the other property is ready to go, and we've worked out an arrangement where Garcia can stay in, and we're going to work around that as they start to do the work. So I would hope before the end of the year even, because I know how badly you want that done.
All the pieces seem to be falling into places. It's been a long, arduous road, but I have to tell you, the design for this intersection and future designs for Whippany Road, Bayer finished up a study which I just circulated to the Township Committee not too long ago and gave it to the county as well this week. Shows the hot spots on Whippany Road that also have to be addressed in order to even make the situation better. But we're on our way toward those improvements. And by the way, all improvements are coming out of private sector money. It's part of the off-track improvements by the Bayer Corporation, et cetera. No taxpayers' dollars are going into that street. So that's where you are.
And as you know, because my office building is there, for the last probably 3 years, I have been the unofficial U-turn to get onto Parsippany Road. We get them whipping around in my parking lot all the time because the traffic backs up in that left lane, right lane. They can whip in my parking lot and come out and make Parsippany Road, you know. And I know it's a temporary thing, but it's a dangerous condition.
It's a temporary.
We've had a couple of people almost hit.
Temporary thing. So many little things, and you heard Joe talk to some issues earlier about the Algonquin additional connect. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's not helping us. And we just got a report from the DOT, Ms. Hurt, was it, on the bridge over 287. That construction has added to our problem. Traffic coming off of there using not only the shortcuts through Whippany Road, but shortcutting through Ridgedale Avenues and Boulevard Road, such it's been horrendous. That's got to get done. We're still working on the connection now on Bayer Boulevard. The intersection's off our radar screen. Now we're trying to work on the connection down at the Algonquin to keep all that traffic off of Route 10. And secondly, we're trying to work with East Hanover, trying to get together with the county, with the mayors down there, on the 4,600 to 4,800 employees that leave Novartis every day and come on Route 10 to get up to the highway system. I mean, it's just too much. But these are things that are in front of us that we're constantly working on.
And we stand firm on the balance of the old Lucent property can't be developed without another connection. I mean, that extra traffic is going to dump on Whippany Road is going to be a nightmare.
We made your commentary abundantly clear during the concept presentation that we received at our last meeting, which didn't end till like 11:30 at night.
Nothing will happen on that track without resolutions to the additional traffic impact and the solutions. Nothing.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else like to be heard at this time?
Joe Mahalco, 12 Anna Terrace, Whippany section of Hanover Township, just two. I've sat there so long listening to Freddie, I forgot what the second one was, but the first one, the rumor mill, as I expressed to you before. what is being built in front of Shop?
ShopRite, the site, the present site, the construction up there now?
Yeah, there's some steel work going up.
Yeah, there's two pads that were part of the original, site plan approval.
Do we know what's going in there?
One's for a bank,
Right,
and one, by the way, let me publicly tell you how much I disagree with this. One's for a bank, one's for a restaurant. The bank
Okay,
has
very good.
something like 5 bays for drive-through in the middle of a grocery shopping store parking lot. But having said that, it's approved.
and do we have any knowledge of what's happening to Hanover Pub and the deli, the never seemed to make it deli there?
Over on Reynolds Avenue.
Yes.
Yeah. There is a process going on right now with the liquor license for the Half Point Pub.
Yes.
Is it public knowledge to, because that hearing has been taking place. Half Point Pub is attempting to sell their liquor license to the ShopRite people.
I heard that part.
That is before the Township Committee,
Public hearing is on the 11th.
and the public hearing is on the 11th as to whether or not the Township Committee will accept going forward on that or not.
Does that like anything to do with the restaurant that's going up in front of ShopRite?
No,
No,
No.
I don't think so.
no, it does not.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Joe. Anyone else like to be heard at this time? Hearing none, seeing none. Motion to
So
close?
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Very good, gentlemen. Okay. Jim, you got a new camera. A new camera.
That's awesome. That's an awesome camera.
How were the pictures we sent over to you, all right?
Are you on the front page?
Oh, I don't get my paper till tomorrow.
Morris Plains stuff.
No, then they'll definitely draw some connection between Francioli and Iannacone and.